Good day to all of you children. In the previous video, we studied about relations. Now we are going to the topic of functions. In this video, we will take up only elementary idea about functions. So what will be a function children? Just like relation again, if there are two non-empty sets A and B, A is a non-empty set and B is also a non-empty set, and we have got a relation F which is subset of A cross B. Or let me call any one subset of A cross B, let me not call it a relation. So F is a subset of A cross B supposedly. So what particular condition the subset F needs to satisfy so that we call F to be a function? Now please understand children, only for understanding purpose I am telling that supposing A contains elements A, B and C, and B contains elements 1, 2 and 3 supposedly. So supposing I make Venn diagram or arrow diagram as we call from A to B. This is A, this is B, this is C, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. Supposedly A corresponds to 1, B corresponds to 3 and C corresponds to 2. In another situation, I draw plenty of situations for you so that you understand nicely. 1, 2, 3, like this we are having. This is of course A and this is B, that you understand. I have a situation like this, A to B. A corresponds to 1, B corresponds to 3 and then C over here. Then I have a situation like this, from A to B, F. A corresponds to 1, it corresponds to 2, B corresponds to 3, C corresponds to 2, like this. Then I have got one situation like this, A and B, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. Then maybe like this. This is F, A, B and C, 1, 2 and 3, like this here. Now children, when will F be called a function from A to B? If F is a subset of A cross B and F is a function really satisfying certain conditions which we will discuss now, then F will be called a function from A to B, and we will write it like this: F is a function from A to B. We will write like this in notation form if it is really a function. Now what are the conditions for F to become a function? See children, this will be called domain, this will be called codomain of the function if it is really a function. This will be domain, this will be codomain. The first set domain, second set codomain. If every element of domain, now listen carefully, every element of domain should correspond to a unique element of codomain. Every element should correspond. That means you should see arrows coming out from every element in simple language. Every element of domain should correspond to a unique element of codomain. Means every element should be associated only with one element of codomain. In simplest language, in a child's language, these are warriors over here on the left side. They are shooting arrows on the opposite party. Every soldier has to shoot an arrow, and every soldier has to shoot only one arrow on the opposite team. Think like that. Every soldier has to shoot an arrow, and every soldier can shoot only one arrow at a time. So one arrow at a time means it will be corresponding to only one element in the codomain. In simplest language I told you. Now see, every soldier is shooting an arrow? Yes. Is any soldier shooting to two people at a time? No. This is shooting one, this also one arrow, this also one arrow. So this can be a function. In this one I can see every soldier is shooting one arrow? Yes. Is every soldier shooting only one arrow at a time? Yes. So this is also a function. Now don't feel, sir, B and C also are shooting the arrow to the same person. That is allowed. What I told you, every soldier should shoot one arrow, and every soldier can fire only one arrow at a time. Is that happening or not? Is any soldier shooting two arrows at a time? No. Is every soldier shooting one arrow? Yes. Therefore, it is a function. Look over here. Here, C is not fighting. C is not shooting any arrow. So, this is not a function. This is not. Over here, A is shooting two arrows at a time. Not allowed. That means A is corresponding to two different elements at a time. Not allowed. Is it allowed? No, because B is shooting two arrows at a time. Not allowed. Is this allowed? No, because A is not shooting any arrow. So like this you have to identify by Venn diagram, or you have to think every element in the domain should correspond to a unique element in the codomain. If that happens, then it is a function, otherwise no, it is not a function. So function is a subset of two non-empty sets A and B. F is a subset of A cross B, and we write like this: F is a function from A to B. A is called the domain of the function, B is called the codomain of the function. So domain of the function will be A, codomain of the function will be B. Like this we think. And wherever there is a function, this is a function. Whichever elements are corresponded by these elements, means you think that whichever elements are short with arrows, they will be included in the range of the function. So what is the range over here? 1, 2, 3. What is the range? Only 1, because only this soldier was short. So codomain is 1, 2, 3, but range is only 1. These are not at all functions. So how to get range? All those elements of codomain which are short at, or whatever elements of codomain are corresponding to some elements of domain, those elements are included in the range of the function. And you can very well see that the range of the function will be equal to or subset of codomain of the function. Here range is 1, 2, 3, codomain also 1, 2, 3, so they are equal. Here codomain is 1, 2, 3, while range is only 1, so range is subset of codomain. So range is subset of codomain or equal to codomain, both the things can happen. Now in this diagram I can see that A corresponds to 1. How do I write it in notations? I will think that I am putting A in F and I get value 1. So I will say F of A is 1. This type of notation we will write. F of A is 1. This number will be called value of the function. When the value of variable, from here I will get value of variable from the domain, and here I will get value of function. So 1 is the value of function when the value of variable is A. 2 is the value of function when the value of variable is C. 3 is the value of function when the value of variable is B. So I will write it as FB is 3 and FC is 2. We will think like this. So these will be called values of the function or images. 1 is image of A, 2 is image of C, 3 is image of B. So these will be images and these will be pre-images. So A is pre-image of 1, B is pre-image of 3, C is pre-image of 2, like this. This is the notation. Value of function at A is 1. Value of function at B is 3. Value of function at C is 2. We say like this. So FA is 1, FB 3, FC 2. What does that mean? I told you. Over here, what will happen? This was a function. What will be FA? FA will be 1. FB will be 1. FC will be 1. Sorry, like this you will get. So this way you came to know what is a function, under what conditions a function can be a function really. F is a subset of A cross B. A and B should be non-empty sets. Then any subset of A cross B will not be called a function. Only under certain situations A cross B subset will be called a function. What are the situations? Every element of domain should correspond to unique element of codomain. Means when you draw Venn diagram in simplest language, every soldier will shoot and every soldier will shoot only one arrow. What is image? What is pre-image? What is value of function? What is the meaning of this notation? What are the meanings of these notations? DF, CF, RF. that you come to know. Please pause and copy, children. What is the meaning of function? Introduction to the idea of functions. Okay, now students, we take into account some special type of functions. First function that comes your way is f, a function from R to R, and fx equal to x. This is called an identity function. I am writing for you, and let us see what it means in detail. Identity function, and it is denoted by the symbol IR. Now, identity function means what, children? First observe that domain and codomains are equal. So if the function wants to be an identity function, then domain and codomain should be same sets. And fx equal to x means every number of domain should correspond to itself only in codomain. So if I am having a function like this from R to R, this is an I function supposing. So A will correspond to A, B will correspond to B, 1 will correspond to 1, theta will correspond to theta, like this you have to think. Every element will correspond to itself. Then it is called an identity function. And because the domain and codomain are R, so I will write the function f as IR, identity function on set of real numbers. If it is from A to A, then I will write f equal to IA. If it is from N to N, then I will write f equal to IN. So this is the meaning of R, A and N over here. This R, A and N tell us what is the domain and codomain of this identity function. IN means identity function from N to N. IA means identity function from A to A, like this you have to think. Because every element corresponds to itself, so if I try to draw the graph of a function from R to R, fx equal to x, so I take some values x and fx. You have to understand, children, that x comes from domain and the value of function comes from codomain. That you should know. So domain x, set of real numbers, I can have value 1, 2, minus 1, minus 2, 0, and so on. Fx I get from set of real numbers. For 1 it will be 1, for 2, minus 1, minus 2, and 0. If I draw the graph, it will come like this. It will be on the line y equal to x, because x and y are equal. And if you try to draw the graph of point 1, 1, 2, 2, minus 1, minus 1, this will be 1, 1, this will be 2, 2, 0, 0, minus 1, minus 1, minus 2, minus 2. It will be a straight line graph at an angle of 45 degree. At an angle of 45 degree. Basics of coordinate, if you know, then you will realize. The slope of this graph will be 1. Slope will be 1. Because slope is tan theta. Theta is 45 degree. So tan 45 equal to 1. Therefore slope is 1. So this is the graph of identity function. And it is a line y equal to x. Its slope is 1. It passes from origin and all those things. Many more things we will talk about when we discuss more properties. Right now I am only giving you introduction of what is an identity function. Then next is a constant function. Next is a constant function. Okay, what will be a constant function? It will be a function from R to R. F is a function from R to R. And fx will be equal to C, any real number. It means the value of fx will be always C, whatever be the value of the variable. Value of the variable x we will get from domain, and this you will get from codomain, that you know. This is the value of function. Value of function is got from the codomain. This is the value of variable is got from the domain. So whatever value of variable I take from the domain R to R F, I take x1, x2, x3, x4. Say I take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever values I take, 0, minus 1, minus 2, all will be corresponding to which number? C number only, because fx is always C. So therefore the value of function remains constant, and therefore it is called a constant function. For example, if I have a function like this, f is a function from R to R, fx equal to sin square x plus cos square x. So children, you know the value of this will remain constant, always equal to how much? 1. So this is the case of constant function. Whatever may be the value of x, 30 degree, 45 degree, 60 degree, answer will be always 1. And you know that if I try to draw the graph of this type of function, here I take x, here I take y axis, here I will plot values of the function, here I will plot the values of variable. In this case, value of function will always remain 1. So whatever be the values of x, answer will be always 1. For 1 it will be 1, for 2 it will be 2, for 3 it will be 3, for 4 it will be 4, for 1, 1, 2 also 1, 3 also 1, 4 also 1, minus 1 also 1, minus 2 also 1, minus 3 also 1. So all these points will come. So you can see the graph will be a horizontal line. And this height is 1, therefore the equation will be y equal to 1 for this line. From basics of coordinate, the equation of this line will be y equal to 1. So this is the graph of constant function. It will be a horizontal line, and because it is a horizontal line, its slope will be 0. So fx equal to c, the graph will be a horizontal line like this. Okay. So if you have paused and copied, then next comes the polynomial function. Polynomial function, please see. F will be a function from R to R. Children, you already know what is the polynomial from class 10. So polynomial means an expression like, just like you are writing px over there, here we are writing px. So this will be a0 plus a1 x1, a2 x2, a3 x3 plus an xn. For this to be a polynomial, you already know that no power of x should be other than a whole number. The powers of x can be only whole numbers. So the powers of x belong to W. They cannot be negative integers, they cannot be fractions, they cannot be roots. Only then this will be called a polynomial, otherwise no, that you know from class 10. So power of x has to be only a whole number. That means it can be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only that much. And the coefficients a0, a1, all those things, a0, a1, a2, a3 up to an, these are real numbers. They can have root 2, root 3, 5 upon 2, minus 7 upon 3 numbers. Coefficients can be anything, they can be any real number. But the power should not be any number other than a whole number. So for example, if I write fx equal to x plus 1, this will be a polynomial function. Fx equal to root 2x4 plus 3x cube plus 2 upon 5x. Yes, it is a polynomial because all the powers of x are positive integers or 0. They are whole numbers. If I write fx as x plus 2 upon x, this is not, because here x becomes raised to minus 1. So this is not a polynomial function. If I have fx equal to root of x plus 3x square plus 4x, this is not again, because here x raised to half is coming. So this is not a polynomial function, that you understand. So what will be a polynomial function? Fx will be in the form of polynomial. A0, A1, A2, A3, they can be irrational numbers also, like here root 2, irrational number. Coefficients can be any real numbers, and the powers of x will be only whole numbers. Then only it will be called a polynomial function. For example, to simplest we are having, supposing I am having f is a function from R to R, fx equal to x square. So children, if you draw the graph, it will come out to be like this, x and y. Here I will plot fx, here I will plot x. 1 and 2 and 3, minus 1, minus 2 and minus 3. For 0 it will be 0, for 1 it will be 1, minus 1 also 1, for 2, 2 square 4, minus 2 4, so graph will be going like this. This will be the shape of the graph for fx equal to x square, passing from here of course, like this. This is the graph of one polynomial function, simplest I have taken. If you have fx equal to x cube, so this graph if you draw, children, if it will come out like this. It will come out like this. For 0 0 1 1 2 8 3 27 -1 -1 -2 -8 -3 -27, this will be the shape of the graph for fx equal to x cube. And many more we will see, don't worry. So what is the polynomial function that I told you? Then please pause and copy. We come to a rational function. What will be a rational function? Supposing px is one polynomial, a0 plus a1x plus a2x square anxn. Qx is another polynomial, that is b0 plus b1x plus b2x square, like this bnxn. Now f is a function from R to R and fx is px, matlab a0 plus a1x, like this anx. G is a function from R to R and gx is qx, matlab b0 plus b1x up to bnxn. So if I make a function like this, h a function from R minus a to R. Now what is it? I'll explain, just wait. Hx equal to fx upon gx. So I divide fx and gx, this upon this. Then I get a new function hx by taking quotient of these two, and this h will be called a rational function. Understand, I should write over here that a1, a2, a3 up to an, these all are real numbers. b1, b2, b3 up to bn, these all are real numbers. And powers of x are whole numbers, that we know. So under these two, in these conditions, these two will be called polynomials, and then taking quotient of two functions which are polynomials, we get a rational expression, rational function rather. What did I write A over here? What does it say? This set A will contain those elements for which gx will be 0. This A will contain those elements of x for which gx will be 0. To understand this point, let us think. Supposing f is a function from R to R, fx is x square plus 1. And g is a function from R to R, gx is x square minus 1. I divide both of them and make a new function. I get a rational function hx, which is fx upon gx, which will be x square plus 1 upon x square minus 1. Now children, you know hx will be undefined if x becomes 1 and minus 1. h1 and h minus 1 will be undefined. That means I cannot get value of this function for 1 and minus 1. Why? Because at 1 and minus 1, gx becomes 0. The denominator becomes 0. So wherever the denominator function is becoming 0, that values you have to throw out from the domain of new function. H is the new function got by taking division of these two polynomial functions. So when I get a new function by taking quotient of two functions, means division of two functions, whatever values of x are there for which denominator is becoming 0, we should neglect those values from the domain of the new function. Therefore, this domain of h will now be r minus a, and that will be how much? R minus plus minus 1. Please understand. Therefore, when you make a rational function, then you have to see the denominator expression is becoming 0 for what values? You have to remove those two values from the domain of new function h. dh means domain of h. H is obtained by getting the quotient of f and g. Wherever g is becoming 0, remove those values from the domain. That is the new domain of h function. Therefore, I am writing r minus a. And what is a? They are those values of x for which gx is becoming 0. If I would have got like this, f a function from R to R, fx is equal to x square minus 3. G is a function from R to R, gx equal to x square minus 3x plus 2. So what will be h? R minus a to R, and you would say hx equal to x square minus 3 upon x square minus 3x plus 2 if hx is fx upon gx. Now you know this is becoming 0 at 1 and 2. So gx is 0 for 1 and 2. So what will be a? A will be elements 1, 2. I have to remove them, otherwise h1, h2 they will become undefined. So h, domain of h will be r minus 1, 2. Like this you have to think. So this way we make a rational function. When we are having two polynomial functions, we take their quotient and we get a new rational function. Okay, please pause and copy, children. Okay, children, the next function, a very important function for you, which you are going to learn about, is the modulus function. It goes like this: f is a function from R to R, and fx is equal to mod x, modulus x. Now, how do we define this function, children? Please understand nicely. Mod x will be x if x is greater than or equal to 0, and mod of x will be minus x if x is less than 0. So if x is a positive number, then you remove the mod sign and it's simply a number x. So mod of 7 will be 7, mod of 2 will be 2, mod of 3 will be 3, like this you have to think. Mod of 0 will be 0. And if a number is negative, say minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, so mod of minus 1 will be minus 1, that will become 1. If you take x as minus 2, the mod of minus 2, minus 2, it will become 2. So we realize that modulus x can only give us positive answers or 0, because when it is positive it will be simply x, when it will be negative, see x is less than 0, so what will be minus x, that will be greater than 0, because it is like this: x less than 0, when we multiply by a negative number in an inequality, you know that sign changes of inequality, so minus x will be greater than 0, so mod x will be greater than 0. So this minus x will become positive, and so mod x also will become positive whenever x will be less than 0. So fx is equal to modulus x is x when x is positive or 0, and mod x is minus x if x is less than 0. Remember, children, if I write here also less than or equal to 0, it does not make difference, because x less than or equal to 0 means x can be 0. So here also mod of 0 is minus 0, that also is correct. So you can think like this: mod x will be x if x greater than or equal to 0, or mod x will be minus x if x less than or equal to 0. That way also you can think, there is no harm, because if I take x equal to 0 from here, still mod of 0 is minus 0, that is same only. So if I try to plot the graph of this function fx in fx, take some values of x from here, from the domain. So I write minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2 and 3. Mod of minus 3 will become 3, this will become 2, this will become 1, this is 0, 1, 2 and 3. So if I try to plot the graph, children, it will come like this: here x, and on y axis I will have fx. 1, 2, 3, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, 1, 2 and 3. 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, minus 1, 1, minus 2, 2, somewhere here, minus 3, 3, the graph goes like this. This is the shape of the graph of y equal to mod x. Understanding, children? This is the graph of y equal to mod x or fx equal to mod x, modulus function. You can cheat, value will be always positive or 0. That way about modulus function. Now some properties you have to learn about modulus function, not learn but understand. We have understood that mod x will be always greater than or equal to 0. Mod cannot be negative. Secondly, mod A into B will be as good as mod A into mod B. Mod A upon B will be mod of A upon mod of B, of course when B is not 0. Please remember, 2nth root of A to n will be mod of A, where n is a natural number, means A square root will be mod A, A4 raised to 4th root will be mod A, A sixth root will be mod A, like this you have to think. 5th, 2n plus 1 root A to n plus 1 means A raised to some odd power and then the same root of that. That will be A where n belongs to n. Please understand these two properties nicely. This will mean cube root of A cube will be A. 5th root of A5 will be A. 7th root of A7 will be A. Here square root of A square will be mod A. 4th root of A4 will be mod A. 6th root of A6 will be mod A. 8th root of A8 will be A. So when the power is even, it is mod. If it is odd, it remains A. Then 6th, mod x less than equal to A, where A is a positive number. It implies in fact by minus A less than x less than equal to A. If it is only less than, then it will come less than. If it is less than equal to, it will come less than equal to. 7th, mod x greater than equal to A, where A greater than 0. Of course, you can write equal to 0 also. This will mean x greater than equal to A or x less. This or is very important to worry. Mod x greater than equal to A, where A is a positive number or 0. It means x greater than equal to A or x less than equal to minus A. Children, let us think about these two properties. Let us understand how they are coming. Supposing I write, I don't need this margin now. Supposing I am writing like this, mod x less than equal to 3. So I should fit only those values of x whose mod is 3 or less than 3. Can x be 0? Yes. Mod of 0 will be 0 less than 3. Can x be 1? Yes. Mod of 1 will be 1 less than 3. Can x be 2? Yes. Can x be 3? Yes. Can x be 4? No. Now x cannot go more than 3, you realize, because mod will be more than 3. So if I plot on a number line, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think 0, 1, 2, 3 allowed, after 3 not allowed. What about minus 1? Minus 1 mod will be 1, less than 3. Yes, possible. What about minus 2? Mod of minus 2, 2, less than 3, correct. What about minus 3? Mod will be 3, correct. What about mod of minus 4? That will be 4, not less than 3. So that means it can go from minus 3 to 3. So that means x is between minus 3 and 3. So I write minus 3 less than equal to x less than equal to 3. See, mod x less than equal to 3 means minus 3 less than equal to x less than equal to 3. Same over here. Mod x less than equal to a, so minus a and a. ठीक है? Then, like that you can try for other numbers. Supposing I am having mod x greater than equal to 1. So I have to think what values x can take. If its mod need to be more than 1 or equal to 1. This is minus 1, minus 2, minus 3. Can x be 0? No. Mod of 0 will be 0, not greater than 1. Can it be 1? Yes. Can it be 2? Yes. 3, 4. Minus 1? Yes. Minus 1 mod will be 1. 1 equal to 1. Minus 2, minus 3. That means x is here or x is here. This means x is more than equal to 1 and this means x is less than equal to minus 1. So what do I write? X greater than equal to 1 or x less than equal to minus 1. See? Same thing over here. Okay? So please pause and copy, children. I give you more properties. Please pause and copy. So some more properties are there, children. See, for any two numbers a and b, mod of a plus b will be less than equal to mod a plus mod b for all a, b real numbers. You can try it for different numbers. Mod of a plus b will be always less than mod a plus mod b. It can never be greater than mod a plus mod b. Either it will remain less or it will remain equal to. You will learn more about this when you go to complex number regarding triangular inequalities. We'll explain to you over there why mod of a plus b, what is the geometrical meaning of this. From triangular inequality we can prove this. So mod of a plus b is always less than equal to mod a plus mod b. When will equality arise? Mod of a plus b will be equal to mod of a plus mod of b if and only if ab is positive or greater than equal to 0. Either less equal होगा जब ab greater than equal to 0. Then mod of a minus b will be always greater than equal to mod of mod a minus mod b for all a b belonging to R, for all real numbers. And equality will arise, will be mod of mod a minus mod b if and only if ab is greater than equal to 0. Then we have got mod of a plus b plus c less than equal to mod a plus mod b plus mod c, just as two numbers, similarly three numbers. And also realize a plus minus b plus minus c less than equal to mod a plus mod b plus mod c. For this equality will arise mod a plus mod b plus mod c if ab greater than equal to 0, bc greater than equal to 0, ca greater than equal to 0. Under that situation, then mod a plus mod b is equal to a plus b if and only if a greater than 0 and b greater than 0. This and is very important. Mod a plus mod b will be a minus b if and only if a greater than 0 and b less than equal to 0, because you know that if both are positive then mod we can remove. If a is greater than equal to 0, the mod a will be a, and if b is less than 0, mod will be minus b. We are talking of that is all. And please remember, mod of a will be equal to mod of minus a. Mod of an will be as good as mod of an, and like this. So I have given you maximum properties, children. Some, if I have split out, maybe some other time I will tell you, but these are the maximum properties of modulus which you should remember at least now. As you progress, you will learn more and more things, but right now at least these many properties of modulus you should know, and you can cross check by taking different values of a and b as shown in the conditions, and you will find them always right. Please pause and copy, children. Children, one more important function is there, which is called signum function, and the spelling goes like this: signum. Signum function. In short, we write it as SGN, signum function. So, what is this function? F is a function from R to R, and fx is signum x, and that is equal to 0 whenever x is 0, that is 1 whenever x is positive, and that is minus 1 whenever x is negative. So signum x will always remain 0 for x equal to 0. It will always remain 1 for positive numbers. It will remain minus 1 for all negative numbers. How will the graph of this signum function come, children? This is x and this is y. For 0 it will be 0. So this point, this is one number and this is minus one number. 0 point will not come on this curve because 0 point is already included. So this point won't come, and this point also won't come because 0 is already included. So I darken it like this. Because for 0 the value is 0. This is the point 0 1. When x is 0, function is not 1. So 0 1 point cannot come on the graph. This is the point 0 minus 1. When x is 0, the value of function is not minus 1. Therefore 0 minus 1 point cannot be a part of the function. For all positive value is 1. So the graph goes like this. For 1 it will be 1, for 2 1, 3 1, 4 1. So all points over here like this. For -1, -1, for -2, -1, -3, -1, the graph will go like this. This is the graph of signum function, children. Very important in calculus. So please understand what is signum function. It is a function from R to R, and signum x is defined as 0 when x is 0, 1 when x is positive, -1 when x is 0. Children, we sometimes write signum function like this also. Signum function is x when x is 0, and it is mod x upon x when x is not 0. X is not 0 means x can be positive or negative. When x will be positive, mod x will be x upon x 1. So signum x is 1 when x is positive. When x will be negative, mod x will be minus x. So minus x upon x minus 1. So signum x will be minus 1 when x is not less than 0. So this is also another way to define signum function. Signum function is 0 when x is 0, and it is mod x upon x when x is not 0. In this video only this much, children. In next video we will take up some more functions. Thank you and God bless you.